Hey, back with another video. This is going to be author spotlight. I'm going to start doing a series of videos about different authors, and this is the first one, the first author spotlight. I just decided that's what I call it. And I've got the fan on, my fan, so that's why my hair is all over the place. And this is going to be Nicholas Sparks, who author spotlight for Nicholas Sparks. He is hands down my absolute favorite author. I love all the books by him that I've read. Some more than others, but I still love them all. So I'm got it on my phone pulled up in the order that he wrote them, I think. And I think that's pretty much the order that I read them in. I'm not exactly positive, but I know that I had, well, I've read all but 3, and one that I don't have, I've read half of. Okay, so the first one I'm going to talk about is what everybody knows, what he's like the most famous for, The Notebook. The Notebook. And I'll read you what it says on the back. And this is, just to let you know, this is like, on the first page, this is what it says. I am nothing special. Of this I am sure. I am a common man with common thoughts, and I've led a common life. There are no monuments dedicated to me, and my name will soon be forgotten. But I've loved another with all my heart and soul, and to me, that has always been enough. And so begins one of the most poignant and compelling love stories you will ever read, The Notebook. Okay, so now I'll read the inside. In an achingly tender story about the enduring power of love, a story of miracles that will stay with you forever. Set amidst the austere beauty of coastal North Carolina in 1946, which is the year my grandma was born, The Notebook begins with the story of Noah Calhoun, a rural southerner returned home from World War II. Noah, 31, is restoring the plantation home to its former glory, and he is haunted by images of the beautiful girl he met 14 years earlier, a girl he loved like no other, unable to find her, yet unwilling to forget the summer they spent together. Noah is content to live with only memories, until she unexpectedly returns to his town to see him once again. Allie Nelson, 29, is now engaged to another man, but realizes that the original passion she felt for Noah has not dimmed with the passage of time. Still, the obstacles that once ended their previous relationship remain, and the gulf between their worlds is too vast to ignore. With her impending marriage only weeks away, Allie is forced to confront her hopes and dreams for the future, a future that only she can shape. Like a puzzle within a puzzle, the story of Noah and Allie is just the beginning. As it unfolds, their tale miraculously becomes something different with much higher stakes. The result is a deeply moving portrait of love itself, the tender moments and the fundamental changes that affect us all, shining with a beauty that is rarely found in current literature. The Notebook establishes Nicholas Sparks as a classic storyteller with a unique insight into the only emotion that really matters. This book, I tell you, is amazing. Absolutely amazing. This, for the absolute longest time, was my favorite book. My absolute favorite book ever. And it's still probably my favorite book ever. I love it. It's about Noah and Allie, and him and her meet when she goes with her parents as like a 17, 18-year-old teenager, and he's that age, and he's working, he's, I guess, done with school, and she's done with school, but she's trying to go to college. Well, They go to North Carolina to, I think it's from Charlotte. They go to, I'm not sure where in North Carolina, but they go there and they stay at their summer house because her dad's rich and Noah's poor, so that's why they don't want. That's why and then they start up a romance and the parents don't like it, and so they separate them and she goes back and her life ensues, and then later it goes like that. But you have to read this book. If you've seen the movie's amazing, but this book is so much better than the movie. It's just so touching and moving, and it's just so amazing. Really, you would love it. It does not disappoint. If you like romance, but not typical happily ever after type romance, but it is very happy and very sad at the same time. And then this one wasn't written next, but it is like it's not the sequel to this, but it's like a what happens in the middle of this. It's about one of Noah and Allie's children and her husband and kids. So, where do I put this? It's the wedding, and it's about um, Wilson and Jane and how their daughter is getting married, and as at the same time their marriage is kind of falling apart. And Noah is in this. It's so good. And so it's just really good. And it's all about him trying to do better, and there's a twist at the end that you may know is coming, but Jane definitely does not know it's coming. So, and I won't give it away, but it is an amazing book, and for forever and a day, I said that this was my favorite book ever, and not that it's been dethroned or anything, but this ties with it. These are tied for my absolute favorite books of all time. And then it is, let's see, then it is A Message in a Bottle. Oh my goodness. You will cry. This is so sad. It's so good too. It's about a woman goes on vacation with her friend, or either no, I think she goes on vacation and she sees her friend. Well, at first she goes on vacation with her friend, I think is it, and then she finds a message in a bottle. She finds a bottle with a message in it, and then, well, I'll just read you the thing. Thrown to the waves and to fate, the bottle could have ended up anywhere. Instead, it is found just 3 weeks after it begins its journey. Teresa Osborne, divorced and the mother of a 12-year-old son, picks it up during a seaside vacation from her job as a Boston newspaper columnist. Inside is a letter that opens with, "My dearest Catherine, I miss you, my darling, and I always do, as I always do. But today is particularly hard because the ocean has been singing to me, and the song is that of our life together." For Garrett, the man who signs the letter, the message is the only way he knows to express his undying love for a woman he has lost. For Teresa, weary of romance since her husband shattered her trust, the The message raises questions that intrigue her. Who are Garrett and Catherine? Where is he now? What is his story? Challenged by the mystery and pulled to find Garrett by emotions she does not fully understand, Teresa begins a search that takes her to a sunlit coastal town in an unexpected confrontation, brought together by chance or something more powerful. Teresa and Garrett are people whose lives are about to touch for a purpose. In a tale that resonates with our deepest hopes for finding that special someone and everlasting love. Shimmering with suspense and emotional intensity, Message in a Bottle takes readers on a hunt for the truth about a man and his memories, and about both the heartbreaking fragility and enormous strength of love. For those who cherish the notebook, and readers waiting to discover the magic of Nicholas Sparks' storytelling, here is his new achingly lovely novel of happenstance, desire, and the choices that matter most. This book, oh my goodness, so good, so good. You need to read it. And then A Walk to Remember. Had it upside down. A Walk to Remember. Oh, did I show this one up close? This is Message in a Bottle. And Garrett is he restores boats for a living. That's what he does. So that's what the significance of the boats is. And then this one is A Walk to Remember. And this is about a girl named Jamie who is she's a Christian. Her dad's the pastor of the local church, and she rears a fat boy at school, of course, and she doesn't want to fall in love with him and all, but there's like a play that has to go on or something, and he gets cast in a role, and he needs her help. She's in like a minor role, so they start hanging out, and he falls for her. So then she falls for him, and then the reason that she doesn't want him to fall for her comes out, and it's really sad, and the ending is very sad. But in the movie, you know the way it goes, you know what happens. But in the book, it leaves you to you can imagine if it goes one way or if it goes the other. If that makes any sense, you can imagine it either outcome. So you could imagine it different than it you kind of get that it's the one outcome, but it could be the other outcome as well. So yeah, this book made me cry. I cried. This is so good. And all I can say is Nicholas Sparks, all the feels. Okay, the next one is The Rescue, and I've got to find it. I've got to find that one. Because I've got so many books here, and I don't know which one it is. Okay, this book, this one, I wasn't so crazy about. I mean, I liked it, of course, and I thought it was a good book. There's nothing wrong with it at all, but it just wasn't one of my more favorite Nicholas Sparks books. It was good, really good, but it wasn't as good to me as some of the other Nicholas Sparks books. But it's The Rescue, and it's about this woman that she's in a car wreck or something, and she meets I think it's like the firefighter or something that comes and rescues her and her son. Now I don't remember what happened with her husband or whatever. I think maybe her son's dad had left her or something, and then I think like her son has some mental problems or something. I'm not really sure, but her and the firefighter, he keeps up with them and makes sure they're okay, and they fall in love and da 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 da. Very true to form. So this was just okay. I mean, it wasn't bad, but it wasn't exceptional. And then there is oh, a bend in the road. This is about a guy who, I think he was a police officer. I'm trying to do it without the delay. Yeah, that's better. Yeah, bend in the road. He's a police officer, and his wife got killed in a car wreck, I think. Yeah, in the bend of a road. She was either walking or running or something, and he had, I think they had an argument or something, and no, she might, I don't remember. It was something where she gets hit in a car wreck in the bend of a road, and they never found out who did it or whatever. And then his son is in like, okay, it's his second grade, and he meets her teacher, and they start dating and everything. Well, then there's a twist with her and everything, or her family rather. But it all works out good in the end, and it's a very good book. I liked this one. Wasn't one of my favorite Nicholas Sparks books, but I really liked it. And then one that I did really enjoy, and I really enjoyed the movie as well, is Nights in Rodanthe. I'm trying to do it without. The only thing I didn't like, and I won't say, I'll just say I didn't like one point of it that they changed from the book to the movie, because it changes the whole um dynamic of the of it. It just doesn't do right for me. I just feel like it didn't. It should have stayed the way it was in the book. But what it is Adrian. I can't remember her last name. Adrian something. Willis. Adrian Willis is, she's going through a rough time in her marriage. I think her husband like left her for a younger woman, and so she starts telling her grown daughter. Well, what happened? She starts telling her grown daughter a story of a time in her life when life was very rough, and it was when her daughter and her son were young. Her son was probably middle school, her daughter was high school, and her husband had left her for a younger woman. Well, she goes to stay at her friend's again for the weekend so her friend can go do something, I don't remember what. And there's only one guest supposed to be there. His name is Paul Flanner. Oh my gosh. So they're spending the whole weekend together in this inn, and it goes from there. And it's very good, very, very, very good. And but yet the end is so sad, so sad. But all the feels, and I cried. I cried. That's one thing. You will laugh, you will cry, you will be happy, you will be sad in a Nicholas Sparks book. Okay. Okay, the next is The Guardian, and I don't have that book. They didn't have it at the library, so I couldn't get it. But I only read like half of it, and I don't remember anybody's names in it. But I remember there was the woman and her husband had died, and he sent her a dog or something. I don't know if he knew he was gonna die, or if he was just preparing for when he did die, if he died or whatever before her. So he had this dog picked out, and it was sent to her after he passed, and it was her companion or whatever. But then his best friend, who he works, I think he's a local mechanic. The the woman and her husband, her late husband's friend, they've been friends too forever. So they were still friends after the husband died. Well, it kind of turned into a little bit more. But then this guy, developer dude, comes to develop the small town. Yeah. And he starts whining and dining her and all this. They're dating and everything, but the dog never likes her. I mean, him never likes him ever. So it is what it is. And then the I only read half of it. There was supposed to be something. I think it said on the thing something about it gets dark or whatever. He gets possessive or something, and it something between the friend and that developer dude. And I don't know because nothing ever happened. All she does is basically she's dating the developer dude, but then kind of developing feelings for the mechanic. So yeah, that's what it is. I never finished it because I thought, well, come on, I've read half the book or more. You need to get to it, and they never did. So I would say that's one Nicholas Sparks book that I really wasn't crazy about. And then the next book that he wrote was The Wedding, but I already talked about that. Okay, the next one is True Believer, which I have right here. That's my thing from the library. True Believer. And I read the inside. One day you're going to learn something that can't be explained with science, and when that happens, your life's going to change in ways you can't imagine. Jeremy Marsh is the ultimate young New Yorker, handsome, almost always dressed in black, and part of the media elite, an expert on debunking the supernatural with a regular column in Scientific America. He's just made his first appearance on national TV when he receives a letter from the tiny town of Boone Creek, North Carolina, about ghostly lights that appear in a legend-shrouded cemetery. He can't resist driving down to investigate. Here in this tightly knit community, Lexi Darnell runs the town's library, just as her mother did before the accident that left Lexi an orphan. Disappointed by past relationships, including one that lured her away from home, she is sure of one thing: her future is in Boone Creek, close to her grandmother and all the other people she loves. Jeremy expects to spend a quick week in the sticks before speeding back to the city, but from the moment he sets eyes on Lexi, he is intrigued and attracted to this beautiful woman who speaks with a soft drawl and confounding honesty. And Lexi, while hesitating to trust this outsider, finds herself thinking of Jeremy more than she cares to admit. Now, if they are to be together, Jeremy Marsh must make a difficult choice: return to the life he knows, or do something he's never done before, take a giant leap of faith. A story about taking chances and following your heart. True believer will make you too believe in the miracle of love. This is about these lights in a cemetery and Lexi Darnell and Jeremy Marsh. It was good. I liked it okay. That's basically all I have to say. It's been a long time since I read this, and there's no movie. It's not one of the more popular ones, but devoted fans like it. I read it. It was good. That's all I have to say. And then the next one is At First Sight. That's the sequel to this, and I'll read you the back of it. Hold on one second. I gotta plug in my computer. Plug it in. That's what it would say. Okay. There were a few things Jeremy Marsh was sure he'd never do. He'd never leave New York City, never give his heart away after barely surviving one failed marriage, and never become a parent. Now Jeremy is living in the tiny town of Boone Creek, North Carolina, engaged to the love of his life, Lexi Darnell, and anticipating the start of their family. But just as everything seems to be settling into a blissful pattern, a mysterious email sets off a chain of events that will test the strength of Jeremy and Lexi's love. And as they cope with the doubts, fears, and romance of the newlywed, Jeremy will discover an extraordinary truth. The emotion that can break your heart is sometimes the very one that heals it. This book, that's what it is. At First Sight. And Tetris, I don't remember much about this other than what it said. I just really don't. So there's not much I can say about it. Okay. Dear John, which you'll see it says on the thing, now major motion picture, with two of my favorite actors. Oh well, actor and actress. I'll read it back. Dear John, the letter wrote, and with those two words a heart was broken and two lives changed forever. When Savannah Lynn Curtis comes into his life, John Tyree knows he is ready to turn over a new leaf. An angry rebel, he had enlisted in the army after high school, not knowing what else to do. Then, during a furlough, he meets Savannah, the girl of his dreams. The attraction is mutual and quickly grows into the kind of love that leaves Savannah vowing to wait for John while he finishes his chore of duty. But neither can foresee that 9/11 is about to change the world. Like so many proud men and women, John must choose between love and country. Now, when he finally returns to North Carolina, John will discover how love can transform us in ways we never could have imagined. Okay, this book is about John and Lexi. Okay, they fall in love and all. She's down there to do like charity work or something. I think it's for like Habitat for Humanity or something. And he's on furlough from the army or I don't know, from the service. What's it said? Okay, army. So he's on furlough and all. Well, as 9/11 happens, he goes back into the service again and everything, and then it ensues from there. It's just really good. It doesn't turn out the way you would hope it would, but It's really heartbreaking. This movie. This movie. Why do I keep saying movie? I guess because it is a movie. And the movie is basically pretty good at staying true to the book. So, yeah. That one was good. I recommend it. I recommend all these books. And next one is The Choice. And I will read The Choice. If you can even see it. I hope you can. The Choice. Travis Parker has everything a man could want. A good job, loyal friends, even a waterfront home in small town North Carolina. In fact, in small town North Carolina, in full pursuit of the good life, boating, swimming, and regular barbecues with his close buddies. He holds the vague conviction that a serious relationship with a woman would only cramp his style. That is, until Gabby Holland moves in next door. Despite his attempts to be neighborly, the attractive redhead seems to have a grudge against him, and the presence of her longtime boyfriend doesn't help. I'm just trying to get comfortable because my leg is hurting. I don't know what it is, but my leg is hurting. So, has a grudge against him, and the presence of her longtime boyfriend doesn't help. Still, Travis can't stop trying to integrate himself with his new neighbor, and his persistent efforts lead them both to the doorstep of a journey that neither could have foreseen, spanning the eventful years of young love, marriage, and family. The Choice ultimately confronts us with the most heart-wrenching question of all: how far should you go to keep the hope of love alive? This book is good. It wasn't one of my favorites, but it was still good. Um, she is newly, she's new. She moves in next door to him, and they become friends, and then they kind of start dating after she breaks up with a boyfriend and stuff. Well, and then it goes on, and it's good. Not the greatest, but it's good. Next is The Lucky One. Oh my gosh. This book, it's really good. Really, really good. Okay, I'm gonna read you. Oh, I'm gonna show you. Cover. The U.S. Marine Logan. And now I don't know how to pronounce this. Thibault. Tybo. I don't know. Finds a photograph of a smiling young woman half buried in the dirt during his third tour of duty in Iraq. His first instinct is to toss it aside. Instead, he brings it back to the base for someone to claim. But when no one does, he finds himself always carrying the photo in his pocket. And then he keeps it, and he starts winning stuff like poker games, and um he wins stuff like he wins a poker game. He survives deadly combat that kills like some of his friends, and um so he goes back home, and he's in Colorado, and he just can't get the woman that is in the photo off his mind. So he walks with his dog all the way from Colorado to North Carolina. And then he finds this woman, and you just have to read this to the rest. and she's got a son, and her grandma lives with them. So, and she has an ex-husband who's a butt. He's, yeah, pile of dirt. So, but Logan puts him in his place. And him and the woman fall in love, of course, and it does have a very happy ending. Well, it's kind of sad, but it's sad, but yet good in another way. So, next is the last song. Haven't read it. About Ronnie, or Veronica. She was doing good till her parents divorced. Her dad left. They lived in New York, and he left and now lives in a seaside town in North Carolina. And she was a piano player, and so was he. And she falls for the local heartthrob, and yeah, there's a connection between that guy and his friend and her dad, and yeah, but it ends good. If I remember correctly, I didn't read the book, but I've seen the movie, so I don't know how the book goes. But the movie, I think it ended good. I'm not positive. I don't remember. And then the next one is Safe Haven. This one is good. It's really good. It's a woman is fleeing from her husband. I think she's from like, I don't know. I don't actually remember where she's from, but somewhere up north. And she leaves there and flees all the way to fleeing from her husband, because her husband, he's a police officer wherever they live, and so nobody would have believed her if she talked about being he beat her. So she's leaving and flees to South Carolina, and she meets a widow and his son and daughter who are young, and she starts up a thing with him, and there's another character, and it's just very interesting. And finally, her husband finds her. She doesn't tell the story. She lies to the widow, the guy. I can't remember his name. Maybe Miles or something. I'm not sure. I don't even remember her name. Alex is the widow, and then Katie. Yeah. And yeah. And finally her husband catches up to her, and I'm probably just telling you all too much about this, but it's really good, and yeah. So then the best of me, this book will make you cry bucket. I don't remember the people's names, but it's the best of me. Okay, so there's this popular, um, rich woman in town, and then there's the guy from the wrong side of the track. His family is thugs and drug dealers and people like that. They do bad things. They're not good people. Well, him and her find each other. I think he like helps her when her car breaks down, and then he can't even think right now. He helps her with her car when it breaks down, and they're high school students. So he they're together, and then their families find out, and her mother is no, 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 no. Well, her, not her, his family is, I think his mother had like died or something. I'm not positive about that, but I don't know. But his family is there, and his family comes or whatever and tries to mess with him one time because he won't do something either illegal or just bad or something. Well, he goes to stay with this old man that lives in town. First, he's just like hiding out in the dude's garage or whatever, and then he stays there and they are together, and then the guy finds out and lets him stay out there and helps him and stuff, and then something bad happens, and then him and her grow up, and she gets married and all, and then something, it's just not the best. She doesn't have the best marriage, and then they have they get drawn back into town, and they meet and all, and then she goes home and something really bad happens. Again, another something bad happens, and then a year later she finds out some really powerful news, and this book is just, this will wrench your heart. This is one of them that tugs at the string. You will cry. Oh my gosh. There's so much in this book that will have you crying. But I do recommend it. I highly recommend this book. If you can stand it. If you can stand it. And then The Longest Ride. Okay, there we go. This is about, can't remember the guy's name. Okay. Okay, this one I'm just gonna have to read the thing. Ira Levinson is in trouble. At 91 years old, in poor health, and alone in the world, he finds himself stranded on an isolated embankment after a car crash. Suffering multiple injuries, he struggles to retain consciousness until a blurry image materializes and comes into focus beside him. His beloved wife, Ruth, who passed away 9 years ago. Urging him to hang on, she forces him to remain alert while reminiscing about their life together, how they met, the precious paintings they collected, the dark days of World War II, and its effect on them and their families. Ira knows that Ruth can't possibly be in the car with them, but he clings to her words and his memories, reliving the sorrows and joys that defined their marriage. A few miles away, at a local bull riding event, a Wake Forest University senior's life is about to change. Recovering from a recent breakup, Sophia Danko meets a young cowboy named Luke, who bears little resemblance to the privileged frat boys she has encountered at school. Through Luke, Sophia is introduced to a world in which the stakes are high, reward and ruin, and even life and death loom large in everyday life, and she and Luke fall in love. Sophia finds herself imagining a future far removed from her plans, a future that Luke has the power to fulfill, if the secret he's keeping doesn't destroy it first. Ira and Ruth, Sophia and Luke, two couples who have little in common and who are separated by years and experience, yet their lives will converge with unexpected poignancy, reminding us reminding us all that even the most difficult decisions can yield extraordinary journeys beyond despair, beyond death, to the farthest reaches of the human heart. The Longest Ride. He's a bull rider. She's in college. They fall in love. That's basically the story, but it's a little more complicated than that. It's a really good book, but yeah, it's really good. So, yeah. And then let's see. And then these last two, I haven't read either one of these. Um, I think this has something to do with it's a man trying to raise his daughter, but I don't know if the wife left or the wife died or what. But okay, this one didn't come first. It was this other one, but I'm just gonna talk about this one. We'll make it through two by two. At 32, Russell Green has it all: a stunning wife, a lovable 6-year-old daughter, a successful career as an advertising executive, and an expansive home in Charlotte. He is living the dream, and his marriage to the bewitching Vivian is the center of that dream. But underneath the shiny surface of his perfect existence, fault lines are beginning to appear, and no one is more surprised than Russ when he finds every aspect of the life he took for granted turned upside down. In a matter of months, Russ finds himself without a job or wife, caring for his young daughter, London, while struggling to adapt to a new and baffling reality. Trying to launch his own business while grappling with the demise of his marriage, the only thing he knows for certain is that London must be sheltered from the consequences of these radical changes. Throwing himself into the wilderness of single parenting, Russ embarks on a journey at once terrifying and rewarding, one that will test his abilities and his emotional reserve beyond anything he ever imagined. When a chance encounter when, with an old flame tempts him to take a chance on once on love again, he will navigate this new opportunity with trepidation and wonder, but with the loyal support of his parents and his wise older sister Marge, and in the hard-won lessons of fatherhood, Russ will finally come to understand the true nature of unconditional love, that it is a treasure to be bestowed, never earned. Sounds good. Probably pretty good since it's Nicholas Sparks. This is what it looks like. And then the next one is See Me. See me just as I see you. Colin Hancock is giving his second chance his best shot. With a history of violence and bad decisions behind him, and the threat of prison dogging his every step, he's determined to walk a straight line. To Colin, that means applying himself single-mindedly towards his teaching degree and avoiding everything that proved destructive in his earlier life, reminding himself daily of his hard-earned lessons. The last thing he is looking for is a serious relationship. Maria Sanchez, the hard-working daughter of Mexican immigrants, is the picture of conventional success. With a degree from Duke Law, with a degree from Duke Law School and a job at a prestigious firm in Wilmington, she is a dark-haired beauty with a seemingly flawless professional track record. And yet Maria has a traumatic history of her own, one that compelled her to return to her hometown and left her questioning so much of what she once believed. A chance encounter on a rain-swept road will alter the course of both Colin's and Maria's lives, challenging deeply held assumptions about each other and ultimately themselves. As love unexpectedly takes hold between them, they dare to envision what a future together could possibly look like, until menacing reminders of events in Maria's past begin to surface. As a series of threatening incidents wreaks havoc in Maria's life, She and Colin will be tested in increasingly terrifying ways. Will demons from their past destroy the tenacious relationship they've begun to build, or will their love protect them even in the darkest hour? Rich in emotion and fueled with suspense, See Me reminds us that love is sometimes forged in the crises that threaten to shatter us, and that those who see us for who we truly are may not always be the ones easiest to recognize. Sounds good. I would probably like it. Okay, that was my author spotlight of Nicholas Sparks. Happy reading and God bless. Bye.